Man, ain't that the cutest little damn motor you ever seen? Well, we got the carb off, we got all the stuff off, the covers off and all that mess, silencer off the front of the carburetor. I've disassembled the carb. I've got it soaking in one of my favorites, Marvel Mystery Oil. There's supposed to be a carb kit come in today for this whole thing. Not going to be able to get to it for the rest of this week. I'm pretty booked up as far as work goes. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to head out now and get onto a job, and I will be working on the road here for the next 3 days. So not a lot I can do with it, but that's fine because that gives it enough time. That thing will sit around in that stuff, and that Marvel Mystery Oil, it'll soften up about anything in there. When I get back to it, I'm going to leave it soaking until I get back to it. Hopefully this upcoming week I'll be able to get back to it, and then we'll see what we can do with her. I guess you'd call this a part 2 because part 1 didn't exactly work. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Good morning, guys. Well, my job's got canceled. Rain. Good Lord, we've had some rain here the past couple months. So I'm going to get back on this carburetor. I've got the rebuild kits in. Carb's been soaking for a while. It's ready to get cleaned out real good. I'm going to try to get this thing running, get some action out of it. I'm going to video the disassembly and assembly of the top end of the carburetor. I might include it in the video, I might not, depending on time constraints. Newbie, I can't put so much on there. But I'll show you what we got here. Just a basic rebuild kit. This is the rebuild kit right here. Everything, all new seals and stuff. New press end cap. Pretty sure I need to pull the old one out and clean it up pretty good. It did not come with a lead shot. I'm kind of surprised at that, but we'll make do. And pizza boxes, any kind of tray like that, that's what you use for carburetors. Because these little parts, these little seals, they'll roll around and get away from you. We're going to slap this booger back together. That has been soaking for a while, and I don't know if you can see in there or not, but it ought to be good and softened up by now. But we're going to get started. Hey guys, we're on it now. We're working. We're getting stuff done. Getting this little plate out, not that big of a deal. A lot of people are scared to mess with it. The biggest thing I do is I drill a very small hole right through the center of it, and then I'll thread a long screw through it. I'm not threading it all the way to the bottom. I'm threading it just deep enough to get some leverage on it. Once I get that screw in there, I can just lay over and it'll pop right out, just like that. Now I can get to the orifices in here to clean them out really good. This is kind of a critical thing that gets overlooked a lot on multiple different types of carburetors. So we got this done, got it out, got everything open. I kind of wanted to have some lead shots to replace here, and here, but they didn't send any with the rebuild kit, so I'm just going to have to ignore those, and I won't be able to clean them out quite as good as I want to. And right now we're getting ready to clean it. I'll get back to you and we'll do the reassembly. Alright, it's time to put this thing back together. Now, the whole reason that you got to pull that cap out, that's just how they have to manufacture it. They've got to drill those 4 small orifices, but they can't do it without having an opening here for the vacuum passage. So they cast it in this manner. There's a little shoulder in here for this cap. Don't know if you can see that cap. What you do is you pull that out, clean it up real good, then you got to pin this cap back into place. The way you do that is you got to get it up. You don't want this or any of this hitting the workbench while you tap it. Now I'll space it up with a couple of 1-bys right there, no big deal. Gets it up off, gives me a flat surface to beat on. And let's pin this bad boy back in. As soon as we pin it back in, we're going to re-clean it again, since we've got some somewhat dirty objects laying up here that we don't want any of that small stuff to get in there. Sits right there on the shoulder. A bolt that's roughly half the size will work just fine. Or you can use a punch made just for this. That's up to you. There we go. Now, one more step that I'm going to do after we clean it, after we get it back together. The last step that I'm going to do before I reassemble this carburetor to the motor is red Loctite. I'm going to use just a little bit of it around the edges. There again, this is just a little vacuum chamber. I don't want any air to get in there whatsoever, so just a little small bit of red Loctite around the inside of this lip. Won't hurt a thing, and it'll seal it up. There she is. She's done. I'll slap her back on the motor. We're going to see if this thing is going to work. All right, man, we got everything back together. I got water. She's ready to go. I've let her sit for a little while. I don't see any fuel leaks anywhere, so that's good. We're going to see if she's going to work. There was some wear. I said something earlier about making some adjustments to the needles on the lathe. Well, once I got inside of the carburetor, I figured out that there's some wear on the inside of the carburetor. So we're going to try this thing with a half turnout on both circuits and then go from there. Hopefully it won't be too bad off, and we'll be able to get it running. And hey, man, I have me a little motor. Let's see what she's going to do. It's time to either make it run or cuss. Time to cuss. Got to dig a little deeper. All right, guys. Fiddled with it, and I had it figured out. I got it figured out now anyway. The original float valve would not work with the new float valve. The threads were different on the seats, and it wouldn't sit just right. I took the new float valve and all that stuff out, put the new body in, or put the old body back in, cleaned it up real good, put the needle valve or the little float valve back on top, put the new float back in, then it would travel up and down. Before, it was not coming down enough to let fuel fill the bowl. Got it figured out. Check this out. Got a little bit of fine tuning to do. I'll be able to do that once I get the prop back on it and put it on the boat and actually put it in the water. I'll fine tune the high and low speed jets. It works. I told you, one way or the other, this shit's gonna work. Altogether, minus the $50 for the motor, because I ended up making a trade and got the motor for just something I had laying around, so no money out of pocket for the motor. I have a total carb kit, can of carb cleaner, and 2 hose clamps. I got a total of $18.50 in this here motor. And I would put her to work this weekend, but the rain pushed me off on my work, so I'll be working the weekend. But I'm happy with this. We got it running. Nah, it ain't perfect. Ain't even close to perfect. But it runs, and it run good enough. I'm gonna play with it until it's good and reliable and fires on at least a second or third pull. And in the meantime, hey, I got a damn boat motor for less than $20.